Welcome to the Relax into Love podcast, the place for spiritual, ambitious women to awaken to divine connection within themselves and their partner and manifest their most desired relationship with joy and ease. I'm Teal Elizabeth, your host, a spiritual love and relationship coach trained in the principles of feminine energy, NLP, and deep subconscious reprogramming. And through this podcast, it is my desire to inspire you on all things dating, relationships, and self-love. Now, on to the show. Hey beauties, welcome back. I am starting to try and do a little bit more live streaming here, and I'm probably going to be also using this as part of my podcast content because to me, I really just want to continue to reflect on my experience and continue to help share the lessons that I learn with each of you so that you can make sure that you are setting yourself up for success in your love life, in your relationships, and more importantly, with your relationship with yourself. So I want to talk about something that I'm calling the crazy girl, calling out the crazy girl because this was something that for me back in the day when I was really start diving into the whole world of dating and relationships and having a lot of like just failed attempts at love, I also was realizing that this has been something that's been coming up for me for many other women that also are in this state right now. So I thought that it could be something good to be able to share with you guys. For any of you who are in those new stages of dating, or whether you've been with a man for a long time or you're in a new stage of dating, this is going to be really relatable for you. And I'm also recognizing that even 7 years later, even being engaged and happily in love with my partner, I still have the crazy girls show up sometimes, and I'm just going to say I've been a little vulnerable today. It's been showing up last week. Last week, the crazy girl came out a lot. So I want to reflect on it and talk about it and figure out how to actually help mitigate her and work with her and build a healthier relationship with her so that you too can do the same and know that you don't have to have that running your life all the time. So this is a really common thing that I see, right? Is this crazy girl that I talk about, she's within us. And the crazy girl is that side of yourself that just can't help but get anxious, get just kind of frazzled, be overwhelmed with emotions, will lash out, will get really crunchy and irritated. It shows up in a lot of different ways, right? And when I was first dating, I remember very specifically having all these urges, having this whole feeling of like anxiousness of like, oh my God, I can't control this relationship. I don't know what's happening. He hasn't called me in 4 days. What do I do, right? This leaning forward energy, this wanting to make things happen, wanting life to move forward in the way that I wanted, but not being able to feel like I had any control over it, right? So we get into this crazy girl mode where we just start acting from that very reactive place. And when we do that, we are essentially detaching from our body and we're detaching from our deeper highest self and our soul. And send me some likes and some comments if this is something that you notice coming up for yourself as well. If you've ever fallen into the crazy girl trap, because it's super common, right? And even today in last week in my own life, I've been noticing the crazy girl coming up again, and I've had to really take some time to work with her and nurture her and get back to a place of feeling back in alignment with myself, because I have not felt very in alignment with myself in the last week. So side tangent, for the last week, we have been living in Portland, Oregon after going on this massive journey of traveling for the last 2.5 years. And we didn't really want to stop traveling, but with the COVID situation and everything else that's going on in the world, we realized it's probably the best thing to do for us right now and to find a spot to settle down. But long story short, it's been a very rough transition to move out of that nomadic freedom lifestyle and into more of a settled lifestyle. And it's caused a lot of uncertainty of how and where and when and what and how much it's all going to take to transition into that lifestyle. And I could very much see in this last week my crazy girl coming out full force to try and take over, right? And especially for any of you who are, tend to be more in that masculine energy most of the time, where we want to plan, we want to strategize, we want to do, we want to fix, right? we tend to lean into this energy to try and make things happen and to actually like get things into place. And I could see myself trying to do that and lean into all of these big decisions, you know, signing a lease on a place after only being here for a week, and buying a new bed, right? Because the bed we have doesn't give us a good night's sleep, and trying to make big decisions about, you know, our wedding and hiring a wedding planner, and just all of these huge big decisions that don't need to happen right now. But for me, I was feeling like I needed to have some sense of calm and peace in my life so that I could move forward with everything that my mind was wanting for the future. But I could see it in my mind. I could see the crazy girl going, and I could see her over functioning. I could see her worrying and stressing, but I wasn't able to pull myself out of it and snap out of it because it felt like life or death, right? And I can imagine for many of you as well, like we get into these spaces, because I've been in this space as well with early phases of dating. If a man's not calling, or he's not following through on his word, or he's not really showing up in the way that we want, it's so easy to get into that fix-it mode, right? And really step into that place of, okay, well, I just need to do something more. I just need to be better. I just need to get some things rolling for me to be able to get over there where I want to be and where we can be a happy couple, right? There must be something that I'm not doing or I'm not being that will, if I fix it, then everything will flow, right? And what I'm here to say is, if you feel yourself like jumping into that crazy girl mode, where you're starting to get into that over functioning and you're starting to get into that over analyzing and stressing and always thinking about the future, not being present about the self in this moment, this is an opportunity for you to just go, whoa, let's take a back seat here. Let's just step out of the driver's seat for a second and pause and breathe, right? Because we all know what happens when we let the crazy girl run the show. The crazy girl comes out, she starts getting really emotional, which is not attractive, right? She is living in the future and not staying present to the moment. And usually she just gets herself so wound up in a tight little ball that she's no fun to be around. And I will admit, I have not been very fun to be around. Poor Spencer. We've also been in a very small studio space. So there's like one room and it's like a tiny little box. So it's a very small space for us to live together. And what I've just recognized is, okay, first off, thank you, Spencer, for being so damn cool about all of this and letting me have this crazy space of just moving through all of this. But two, you know, recognizing what is it that this crazy girl is really trying to say? What's really deep down the need here, right? And hey, Lee, hey, Carla, good to see you guys on here. What is the need? Oh, Sarah, good. I'm glad this is reflecting for you guys as well. Yeah, it's it can be messy. It can be messy, but you really have to take a second, and I've had to take a lot of long walks and just say, what is it that I really need here? What does the crazy girl need right now? And a lot of times it's just space. It's just space, and it's taking a time to get out of the mind and back into the body. So, but I can also speak to that as like when you are in that crazy mindset of just over functioning and overthinking, it's really hard to just sit still and be like, okay, I'm just going to meditate and zen out, right? Sometimes it takes something a little stronger than that to like snap you out of it, right? Comment below some of the things that help you snap out of it, because for me, like even in these moments, it's like, oh my God, nothing's working. I'm just so claustrophobic in my head. So for me, one thing, if it's really dire, I say take a cold shower. Literally just like get into the shower and just snap yourself out of it physically and just like wake yourself up, right? Two, just be aware of it and really recognize, whoa, right? I'm feeling really pent up right now. There's a lot of emotions coming through. How can I move through this? What's coming up here for me? And then journaling about that, right? And reflecting and just continuing to ask yourself that voice within, right? I wrote this post earlier about the voice within, and it's really important to let that voice within speak. And a lot of times the mind will crush that voice because it doesn't want to listen to the voice, because it's so much easier and it's so much more comfortable to just let the mind go rampant. But this is the laziness of the mind, is that if we're not taking the time to discipline the mind and remind it, you are not in control here, right? I use you when I want you. You don't use me, okay? So it's really like shifting this whole relationship that we have with our mind so that we get to be back in control. And when I say we, I'm saying our deeper soul, our truest, highest self. And that's what I've been able to do. It's taken me a few days, but I've had to really listen to that inner voice, really take a lot of time just away from the computer, out in nature, just regrounding, recentering myself, and then getting to a point of asking that little voice within, and really that inner child. It sounds like she's throwing temper tantrums sometimes, right? And just asking her, what is it that you really need? Why do you feel the need to be over functioning? Why do you feel the need to be going on 6 apartment listings in one day and cramming and stressing about these decisions? Like, you don't need to do that right now. All you need to do is stay focused in the present moment here where you are. And when I've been able to do that, I start to realize, okay, I need to get a new mattress so I can sleep better. I need to get to the dance studio so I can dance. I need to eat better food, right? I need to talk to my girlfriends, all the basic things, and just like that, 180-degree difference. And it's been so beautiful to watch it and witness it. And I'm hoping that I can share this in my own reflections so that it can also help you as well, because it's a constant practice, you know, managing that crazy girl, because she won't ever go away, right? She won't ever go away, but we can build up a healthier relationship with her so that she's not always running the show, and so that we can really take back control and take back the power for our own self and make sure that we're just being guided in the right ways. Because at the end of the day, the reason that she's coming forth and the reason she's taking over and making it feel so intense in our head is because something isn't being met and some sort of need is not being filled. And maybe there's a deeper fear underneath there that needs to be addressed. Or maybe it's just a lot of uncertainty that just needs to be resolved, or some decisions need to be made, and sometimes that she just needs to be loved and needs to be honored and need to be heard. So I'm glad that this is making sense for you guys. Glad you guys are resonating with this. Definitely feel free to pop some questions in there too if this is something that you're struggling with at the moment, or you're going through this with this relationship with your mind, because it's definitely, like I said, something that's going to be a constant practice. And I've been working with this for many, many, many years. But it still pops up sometimes. And I'm really excited too, because I'm now in a new office space. So I've actually decided to go and bite the bullet and get an office space so I can really just up-level my own professionalism and have that space for myself to really thrive and explore and expand. So I'm doing what I need to take care of my needs, and I would love to hear from you guys. You know, what are some of the things that you would like to honor, and what are some needs that you would like to really start leaning into so that you can really continue to show up as the best version of yourself? Because I have to say, now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm talking about it, I'm really appreciative of this crazy girl, right? I had to say to Spence, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I've been a nutcase the last week. But at the end of the day, I'm really grateful to her because she's helping push me in the right directions and reminding me of the things that I need to be my best self. So I'm going to leave that with you for now. Looks like, oh, good, we've got some comments. Beautiful. Let me look through these comments. Sarah says, yes, same. I long ago realized and recognized this in myself. When I feel her, I consciously lean back and do lots of self-care. Beautiful. I prefer being pursued in relationships and being in my feminine, so I often need to love on myself, recenter, ground, align, and allow love to come to me. Beautiful, Sarah. Beautiful. You are speaking my language. Absolutely. And this is exactly what I share as well. And it really does make a huge, huge difference. Absolutely. I would love to know and have you share for our community too, what are some of the things that you do for self-care that helps you to really be in that feminine space? Natasha says, going for a run. Yes, hugely so, hugely so. I've been going on a lot of runs. That's been very helpful, yes. Sarah, oh, you already responded. Beautiful. Working out, yoga, run, paint, journal. Ooh, yes, shower. Yes, sweet. Walking, gentle self-talk, Lee says. Beautiful. Yes, walking and walking. Yes, yes, yes. The mind is our best friend if we know how to talk to it. Maria, beautiful. You're completely right. It really is. It's a blessing and a curse, this mind, right? But it really is. It is a best friend. Hiking, if I can get away. Yes, getting into nature, absolutely. Lee says, yes, being a woman is so different, unique, and requires special care. Absolutely. But that's really one of the beautiful things I will say, too, about being a woman is we have this just beautiful mysteriousness of us, of all of these beautiful emotions, right? And so, like Sarah was saying, and like a couple of you or others were saying, when we really give ourselves the time to just hold that safe space for us to be women and be everything, all the facets of our personality, there's just such beauty that can come through that, right? And men are really, really drawn to this because this is not an area that they play in very often. And I know, especially for Spencer too, like he needs me to be able to go into those spaces and be vulnerable like I'm being vulnerable with you guys so that he can feel safe to do the same thing for himself. And this is really, really big. When we show men that we can be safe with our feelings and we can be the just mess that we are sometimes, if we can manage it in the right way and do it in the safety of our own space and not project it all onto him, we really get to then come back to the situation and say, hey, and this is what I did. I was like, hey, I really apologize for just being a little off for the last week. Here's what was going on. This is why I was taking all this time away. This is what I was processing through. And this is really how I feel that I need to move forward to make sure I'm taking care of my needs. And then he gets to say, wow, oh my God, like she is so emotionally mature, right? That she's able to communicate this in an objective way without attacking him or making him wrong for anything. And it allows him to have the safety and the space to say, yeah, I too, I've been feeling a little stressed. Yeah, I too have been feeling a little uncertain, and allow him to open up as well, because he doesn't get very much time. And I'm saying he, but I'm saying in general, men, they don't have as much space to be able to communicate and drop into their heart and drop into their feelings. And that is the gift that we as women get to give to them. Carla says, working out, journaling, dancing, being in nature, and being in water. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. I'm so glad this has been hitting home for you ladies. Absolutely. And yeah, it's just something I want to keep kind of diving into, playing with. I'm going to try and start coming on live a little bit more often so we can just have these real heart-to-heart conversations and interact more. If there's any topics that you would like me to specifically talk about, definitely let me know. I'm open to talking about anything under the sun, but I felt like handling and managing this crazy girl is a good place to start. So I hope you guys are having a beautiful, beautiful start to your week. And Lee, yeah, I will take that question for next week and we can kind of do another live. But yeah, I hope you're having a beautiful start to your week. Take some time to just love on yourself today. Give yourself that extra breath to come back into your heart, and just know that no matter how much craziness is going on in the outside world or the internal world, you are okay, you are safe, and you are so loved. Mwah. Thanks for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Relaxing to Love podcast. If you are loving what you're hearing, please, I would love for you to write me a heartfelt review. It means so much for the success of this podcast. And honestly, I love hearing what really hits home for your soul. And the feedback, really, I read every piece of it. So definitely pop me a love note and share this with a friend. Share this with someone who you know could really use this message today. And let's keep spreading the love. Until next time.